Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to solve day 21 problem of this month on LeetCode. Before starting, if you guys haven't subscribed my YouTube channel yet, then please go ahead and subscribe it. Now without any delay, let's get started with today's problem. Problem number 7.3, set matrix zeros. So we have given an m into n integer matrix. If an element is 0, we have to set its entire row and column to zeros, okay, and you must do it in place, right? So let's understand this with an example here. So this is example number 1 and this is matrix given to you, right? 1 1 1 101 and 111. Okay, so here see, this is 0, so you are going to change this to 0, this to 0, this to 0, entire row and entire column. Okay, so this is going to be your final output, right? 101 0 0 0 1 0 1, right? This is your output. Okay, so how we are going to do this, let's understand that. Okay, so this is your row 0, row 1, row 2, column 0, column 1 and column 2. Okay, so first thing, in your code you need to check if first row or first column has any zeros. So here your first row doesn't have any zero. Okay, no zeros in the first row, right? And no zeros in the first column. Okay, so this is the first thing that you need to check. Okay, first thing, right? That is no zeros. You have to check if first row or first column has any zeros. Okay, so here no zeros, no zeros. Okay, no zeros. This is one thing. Now after that, once this is done, okay, so I'm not using any other, creating any other matrix, okay, to again fill all these values. I'm going to update this single matrix only. Okay, that is why you must do it in place. All right. Okay, so here after that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to iterate over all these cells one by one. Okay, so I'm going to start from here. I'm going to visit this first, then this one, then this one and this one. Okay, so here see, this value is 0. Okay, so if this value is 0, now I'm talking about second step. Okay, so now if this value is 0, then what you need to do, you have to update this to 0. Okay, this to 0 and you have to update this to 0. Okay, if this is 0, you have to update this to 0 and this to 0. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I'm going to use first row or first column to mark zeros in later on. Okay, so here if this is 0, I'm going to set it to 0 and it to 0. Okay, now I'm going to visit this. This is 1, so I'm not going to do anything. This is 1, I'm not going to do anything. This is 1, I'm not going to do anything. Okay, so this is going to be second step. Okay, this is my second step. All right, so if I'm going to visit all this one by one, and if the value is 0, then I'm going to mark this to 0 and this to 0. Okay, that this is nothing but the starting of your row and this is nothing but the starting of column. Okay, because I'm going to use first row and first column to mark zeros, right? So once this is done, okay, then again I have to iterate. Okay, then again I have to iterate over all these cells. Okay, this, this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, after that I'm going to check if this is 0 and this is 0, I'm going to set it to 0. Okay, again for this, the first element in the row, it is 0. Okay, here the first element in the column is 1. Okay, so if any one is 0, okay, if it is 0 or if it is 0, okay, or both are 0, so just update it to 0. Okay, I'm going to change it to 0. Right, now here I visit, so this is 1 and this is 0, so that simply means change it to 0. Okay, this here we check this and this both are 1, so no update. Okay, this is your second third step. Okay, so here what we are checking in the third step, we are checking if the first element of the row or first element or first element of the column is 0. Okay, or I'm using or, so then only change it to 0. Okay, otherwise no. Okay, so this is my third step. And my fourth step, what I need to do here in the starting, we check now if my first row or first column has any zeros. So here no, so no need to update. But if there are zeros, okay, then I have to update the rows and columns to zeros. Okay, first row and first column to zeros only, right? So in the end, if you see 101 0 0 0 101, okay, this is our output. Okay, now same thing here we will do in example number 2. Okay, so here first let's mark this to 0 1 2 0 1 2 3. Okay, I'm using the constant space. Okay, so in this problem it is given that a straightforward solution using O of m and space is probably a bad idea. A simple improvement using O of m plus n space, but still not the best solution. So we are going to do it in constant space solution. Okay, and here I'm not going to create any extra matrix. Okay, I'm doing it in place only, right? So here now let's cover all the steps one by one. Okay, so first step, your first step, check zeros in a row, first row. Okay, and zeros in the first column. right? So here in the first row there are zeros. Okay, if any single zero is there now, so just do one thing, just set this to true. Okay, set it to true and just break it. Okay, you don't need to check then complete a row, right? So this is row now, so here set this now, this to true. Okay, if you find this true, okay, no need to check 1 2 and 0. Okay, if any 0 is there, just set this first column row, okay, to true. Okay, same way in column also now, you see this is 0, so just set it to true. Okay, this is first step. Okay, so here both are true. Okay, this is your first step. Okay, now what is your second step? So in second step you have to iterate over all these elements. Okay, yes, you have don't need to check here first row and first column, you need to check this. Okay, I'm going to run one loop, this. Okay, so here tell me this is 0. Okay, no, it is not 0. So if any element here is 0 now, so we need to update this to 0, this to 0. Okay, if this is 0, but here this is not 0, right? This is not 0. Okay, so we are not going to do anything. This is also not 0, this is also not 0, not 0, not 0, not 0. Okay, done. Okay, so if here let's suppose if this is 0 now, so what you need to do then, in that case you have to change it to 0 and change this to 0. Okay, right? Because we need to use first row and column to mark zeros. Okay, so here there is no such case, so I'm not going to change anything. Okay, this is your second step. Okay, so here in green color ticks now, you have to check if any 0 is there. Okay, if 0 is there, then you have to mark the first row element to 0 and first column element to 0. Okay, so this is your second step. Third step, again you have to iterate over all these green ticks. Okay, iterate over green ticks. Okay, now what you need to do, now you don't have to check zeros, now you have to check if first row or first column is 0. Okay, so here now you have to check if the first row element or first column element is equal to 0, then in that case you have to update the element at that particular green tick to 0. Okay, so what I'm saying here, see, 3 and 1 4, let it be 4. Okay, 3 and 2, let it be 5. Here 3 and here 0, just change it to 0 now. Okay, 3 and 0, so here any one element is 0. Okay, first row or first column element. Okay, so 0, so change it to 0. Okay, 1 and 1 3, 1 and 2 1. Okay, 1 and 0, so here change it to 0, right? Because here it is 0. Okay, so this is done, your third step is done. Fourth step is first row or first column now, so here both are true now. So if both are true now, you have to just first row is true, so just change all the elements to 0. Okay, this to 0, this to 0. Okay, now first column is also 0, just change it to 0 and this to 0. Okay, so now see in the end your output is 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 4 5 0 0 4 5 0. Okay, 0 3 1 0. That's it. Okay, that's it, right? So these 4 steps you need to take care. Okay, so now let's write the code. Very simple. Okay, so let me just maximize the screen, and here you have to write boolean first row 0. Okay, and set it to false, then again boolean first col 0. Okay, and just set it to false. Okay, and here just create m as matrix.length. All right, and create n as matrix 0 dot length. Okay, this is done, right? So now here we are using constant space only, right? We are not creating any 2D array, right? So it's constant only, right? Now our first step is going to check if first row or first column has any zeros. So run one loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than m, I plus plus. All right, here you have to check if matrix here I comma 0. Okay, so here equal to 0, right? So here you are checking the first column, right? So here you have to set first col 0 to true. Okay, and then break it. Okay, we are just going to update these variables, right? First col 0. Okay, so now same way you have to check the first row also, so you can just go over this. Okay, just copy this and paste it here. Okay, now here you, but you need to do just let's run j loop. Okay, here j is equal to 0, j is less than n, and here j plus plus, and here it should be 0, and only you are updating this value, so this is nothing but your j, and here instead of first call, here you are updating first row, right? And that's it. Okay, now this is done, right? So this is your first step only, first row and first column we are checking. Now step 2 is use first row and column to mark zeros. Okay, so here we have to check all the green tick items. Okay, these green tick items. Okay, these green tick items. Okay, so we are skipping first row and first column. Okay, so here I have to run loop from I is equal to 1, right? I is equal to 1, I is less than m, and here I plus plus, and here for int j is equal to 1, j is less than n, and j plus plus. And here I have to check if matrix I of j element is 0. Okay, if any element is 0, then we have to mark the first element of the row and first column element of the column to 0. Okay, so here we are going to use first row and column to mark the zeros, right? So here, if this is the condition, then you have to write matrix. Here you can write I comma 0, this to 0, and here you have to write matrix. Here you have to write 0, and here you have to write j. Okay, you have to set this to 0. All right, this is done. Okay, so this is done. This is your step 2. Okay, now let's move to the step 3. All right, so here just do one thing, just copy this. Okay, now we are moving to step 3. Okay, so in step 3, what you need to do, here you have to check if a matrix, if a first element of matrix, okay, matrix I, okay, this element, okay, if this is equal to 0, okay, or if matrix of this element, okay, matrix of 0j, okay, if first element of row or first element of column, if anyone is 0, then we have to operate our matrix of I of j to 0. Okay, so this is your step 3, right? Done. Okay, this is also done. Now once this is done, now let's move to step 4, okay, which is to update the first row and column. Okay, so if your first column is 0, okay, so if this condition is true, first col 0, okay, so if your first condition is true now, so here you have to run one loop. Okay, so you can just simply go here. Okay, just copy this, come here, paste it inside this. Okay, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than m, I plus plus, and here matrix of I 0, you have to update it to 0. That's it. Okay, so just delete this, not required, and here delete this. Okay, that's it, right? So this is done. Okay, if their first column value is 0, okay, so that's it. Okay, this is done. Now same way you have to check for first row also. Okay, so here just paste it. So here first row 0. Okay, so here you are writing row 0, and here you are writing for int j is equal to 0, j is less than n, and here you are writing j plus plus, and here matrix of 0 of j, you are going to set it to 0. That's it. Okay, that's it. That's it. This is done. All right, so this is done here, and now here after that, once this is done, so here this ends here. This is for this and only this. Okay, why this extra, right? So this is done, and here let me just do like this. Let me just format the code. Okay, let's run it and see if there are any issue. We'll try to fix that. So yes, so we are missing something where, okay, so here what we are updating, if this, okay, then we are updating matrix of I of j, okay, y double equal. All right, so just change it to 0, and here also we need to update now, right? Just change it to 0, and let's run it again. So yes, there are still some issues, so let's fix that. Where is that? If this is the case, matrix of I of 0 is equal to, here we need 2 equals to, right? Okay, let's run it again. So now see, all the test cases has been started, right? Let's submit it. It's very simple, right? So see, our solution is accepted, right? Okay, so if you see the time complexity, so it is going to be O of m into n, right? But if you see the space complexity, so it is going to be constant only, O of 1. Okay, so I hope that you guys are able to understand today's problem, and if you guys still have any doubts, then please feel free to ask in comment section. Till then, keep coding and keep practicing. Meet you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.